moving on. We will get a update from Manton Reece about new features in Micro.blog, specifically Mastodon API clients.
Hi, everybody. I'm Manton. Let me get my screen shared. You see that okay?
We can, yes,
okay.
Good.
Cool. Bumped up the font a little bit. We'll see if everyone can read it. Micro.blog, for folks who don't know, launched about 7 years ago, hard to believe. And a whole bunch of features. I'm not going to get into hardly any of them, but I wanted to highlight 2 new things and one kind of experimental thing with the Mastodon API. If you don't know, Micro.blog is a blog hosting platform and social network. So the social side, I can scroll through my timeline. I have Micro.blog users, Mastodon users. The blog hosting, we added a new editor that I wanted to show really quick. So I could say like, hello. This is a quick demo of Micro.blog at FediForum. And redesigned the markdown highlighting. So I can say like, this is bold. I can make this like a link to FediForum. And I can hit preview. I can toggle the preview to see what it'll look like. And then I'll hit post and it'll go off to my blog. We use Hugo behind the scenes, a static site generator. So it processes all the markdown, publishes to your own domain name. And because it natively supports ActivityPub, anybody, on the Fediverse can follow my blog and read things. The other quick thing I wanted to talk about is the cross-posting services. When you post your blog, of course, it natively goes out with ActivityPub, but we have a bunch of other services that it can copy to, Media, Mastodon, LinkedIn, Tumblr, et cetera. The only 2 I have enabled here right now are Blue Sky and Threads, which we just added. And so it makes a copy and sends it out to those services. And the thing I wanted to highlight is we're improving the integration between those. So like for Blue Sky, for example, it'll also check for replies from Blue Sky. So it sends it out to Blue Sky, and then any replies to that post on Blue Sky come back into the Micro.blog timeline, and then you can see them and you can reply directly in Micro.blog. So if I click on mentions, and like, let's say this was from Blue Sky. Oh, actually, this was a test that I did from Blue Sky earlier, and I could reply in here. I could say, thanks, or, whatever. Hit post, and it would go back to Blue Sky and chain things into the conversation. So those are 2 new things we added recently, but the main thing I wanted to mention is an experiment that I'm working on for Mastodon API support. With Micro.blog, we support a whole bunch of APIs, including the Micropub API for posting, which is a W3C standard that came around the same time as ActivityPub. Also, even older blogging APIs like the MetaWeblog, XML, RPC API. So there's already clients like writing apps like Ulysses and IA Writer that can post to Micro.blog. But a lot of people say, like, what about Mastodon clients? They have a Mastodon app like Ivory, Ice Cubes, et cetera, and they want to add Micro.blog also. And the reason I have hesitated to add that is that features between different platforms are not exactly the same. So as an example, Micro.blog doesn't have boosts like Mastodon does. There's a whole reason why we don't have it. I'm not going to get into that because I will run out of time, but we don't have boosts. But the problem is, if you have a Mastodon app that assumes you're talking to Mastodon, it's going to show a boost button. It's not going to work. It's going to be confusing to the user. So what I've done is I'm experimenting with a fork of Ice Cubes because it's open source. Can you see this window with the iPhone simulator?
Yes, we can.
So here I have IndieWeb.social, obviously Mastodon server. You can see that some of the options in the UI are reply, boost, favorite, share. If I go to Micro.blog, which I've added, now I see that the only options are reply, favorite, like the boost is not there. So this is a little bit hacked together for the demo, but the idea is that servers could advertise what features they support, and then clients could adapt better. There's a whole separate kind of discussion about should we be encouraging the Mastodon API, I think, because it's not a standard, and we have part of ActivityPub, the client to server API that more apps should probably use. So I'd love to talk about that, maybe in a session or elsewhere. And I also wrote up a Fediverse enhancement proposal that had some feedback that I think could be the start of something like this. So I wanted to throw that out there, something new that I think has some potential to adapt different apps, and my time's up. Thanks very much.